Then you have local entities like Startup Grand Qatar, which is actually a chapter that started in California.
Wow.
The business landscape here in Qatar is quite unique in that culture plays a big role in how you interact with people in business. And going for that coffee or tea just to get to know somebody, exhibitors, and even for tickets to attend the event.
Wow. I'm definitely coming to that event. Hello, my name is Mary Pierce, and today's speaker is Xiomara Henriquez. She's Executive Director of American Chamber of Commerce here in Qatar. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Mari.
You're welcome. Would you mind telling us a little bit about your experience with American Chamber of Commerce in Qatar and what is that you guys do to help the American businesses?
My role as the Executive Director of the American Chamber of Commerce in Qatar is to help facilitate trade, commerce, and investment bilaterally between the US and Qatar. And here locally, we support our members through many values and benefits that we offer, whether it be roundtables for members, it be sitting in with high-level US government officials who've traveled into the country visiting, or just informational and educational sections to help our members to navigate the business landscape here in Qatar.
That is amazing. I can tell you that you guys are hugely helpful. From my own experience, I can speak that. I feel like as I was telling you earlier, my week since I arrived in Qatar, I feel like I got accomplished way more in my 2 weeks that I was here than the last year and a half going on my own and having your support, having your guidance, the connections that you guys have. It's extremely powerful. And I feel like I did have other experiences with other American Chamber of Commerce back in America. And you guys do like we call it here in Qatar, the VVIP treatment. So I'm really thankful for you guys and for your hard work and able to help American businesses here in this country.
I appreciate the compliment. When we get this type of feedback from partners, collaborators, members, potential businesses who want to enter the market here in Qatar, this really lets us know that we're on the right track with what we're providing. It is important that people have that experience because it's easier when you have someone who can help you to navigate the space. And knowing that there have been experiences such as the one you've shared about your own, business journey, where people may have felt a little bit lost or they didn't know who to talk to. Understanding that there was that gap, filling that was, an important initiative for me. And so making sure that businesses feel comfortable, whether locally, because they're looking to expand or they're looking to have additional partnerships, whether it be with other American businesses, Qatari businesses, or internationally, that's available to them. And not only does that support network exist here in Qatar, but AmCham Qatar is the vice chair for the AmCham MENA Council. And in that role, we have access to the other AmCham's networks as well. So that includes Oman, Bahrain, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Kuwait, KSA, Lebanon, Jordan, Palestine, Egypt, Morocco, and Tunisia.
Wow. Big for the Middle East. I didn't know that when you told me. Like, oh my God, I wish I would have known this before because, when you're trying to expand for me as an American Qatar-based company, even being here in the country, you it's not just opening up the company. However, the company is and you're going through the whole paperwork with whichever ministry your entity supposed to be with. You still need to make sales. You still need to make contacts. You still need to know where to go. And like for me, wow, I was a very long journey. And like I said, just having you as collaborators and guidance was a very huge impact for my business. What tools is the American Chamber of Commerce here in Qatar providing for entrepreneurs and business owners here in the country?
So, in terms of entrepreneurs, let's say if we start in the startup space, or even
Hmm.
if you're looking to grow out of that, say, seed stage and looking for additional
Hmm.
funding, Qatar has some great resources that they've recently announced in 2024 from the startup platform that Invest Qatar has.
Hmm.
There are programs available through Qatar Development Bank, through the Qatar Research and Development Institute, and then you have local entities like Startup Grind Qatar, which is
Mm.
actually a chapter that started in California,
Wow. Okay.
and the California Startup Grind expanded globally, and now there's one here in Qatar. So, that's another great network,
Hmm.
not just within the country, but going out globally
Yeah.
to what they have to offer different businesses in different stages of startup. And when we're talking about your larger businesses, so with our strategic partnerships that we have with Invest Qatar, they are a really good resource in helping to guide businesses to get meetings with relevant stakeholders based on their industry of expertise and what they're looking to do, where they need to license, what services and products are they trying to make available in the market here, as well as our great relationship that we have with the US Commercial Services
Mm.
through the embassy. So, depending on where you are in that globally expanded journey, they can guide you to the right offices on where to begin and then how to avail their services and counseling when you're looking to enter market here. And then we always make sure that we have open communication with the same relevant stakeholders when you're talking about the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, uh, ministries for public health and other spaces like that. It's important that we keep communication with them so that we can get information as the regulatory landscape changes or other things to help business.
That's amazing. What are some of the collaborations that you guys have done here with in Qatar with other American-based businesses and companies that you have seen, you know, into fruition or you have seen expanded or benefit from collaborating with you guys?
Well, one that I can say is a great benefit to American companies is there is Kalman Worldwide. And Kalman is the one who often in these big trade shows will either build out what are called like USA pavilions where USA businesses can have spaces, or they're already allocated spaces for US companies within trade shows,
Mm.
and they help to get companies in to exhibit there. So one such coming up is in October of 2024. There's Millipol Qatar,
Mm-hmm.
and so I am working with Kalman Worldwide to notify our members of the opportunity to be an exhibitor at these large trade shows. Another one that they did this year was they actually outfitted a USA pavilion at Demdex, which occurred in March 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And they do these globally.
Wow.
All right, so it's important that we have a communication with entities like this in order to provide more value. Companies can exhibit their products and services in these large trade shows.
Wow, that's amazing. And as a whole, from the MENA region, how do you have like a roughly of how many members do you guys have at least, or maybe in the GCC? Because I know you guys have a lot of members too.
Oh, wow. I can't think of a figure off the top of my head.
We don't have to do that one then. Don't worry about that one.
Because we each operate a little bit differently
Mm.
in our membership base, and which types of industries are concentrated in different countries and
Mm-hmm.
how they operate. But I can say that, most recently, AmCham Egypt celebrated their 40th anniversary,
Wow.
yes, in May, and they are quite a large operation.
I mean, Egypt is amazing. I lived in Egypt for 2 years and I love that country. And I think there's a lot of opportunities too. I mean, everywhere. There is a lot of opportunities everywhere. Um, can you share with us what are the challenges that you have seen from American companies looking to either enter or expand to the Middle East region?
So, believe it or not, the biggest challenge that most companies face when trying to enter the market here is that their documentation is not in order.
Mm-hmm.
And the part that's lacking the most is that many people are not aware of how important it is to make sure that their documents are appropriately translated into the Arabic language.
Mm-hmm.
They can't just come in with the English versions of these
Yeah.
documents and think all is well. Having certified Arabic translations of all of the documentation is extremely important,
Mm-hmm.
because that can be the part that creates the biggest delay.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, every company's situation is going to be very unique to their circumstances. And so the great thing is that we have a lot of members who are experts in these different spaces, whether they be regulations around immigration needs or around employment contracts and things like that. That's where we rely on them to be the experts and sources of information and education for companies looking to enter, and also for companies who are already here, because the regulatory landscape can change quickly. And again, this is where our members who are experts in these things are really great value.
It's amazing. What about Middle East companies, or we can speak for Qatar, wanting to enter the American market? What are some of the challenges that you have seen happening?
So I would say, again, every company is going to have a unique circumstance and situation. But if you are a Qatari company or a company in the GCC looking to enter the market in the United States, your best opportunity is to be part of a delegation for Select USA. So in 2025, Select USA will be in May. And this is an opportunity for businesses to travel as part of a delegation that is done through the U.S. Commercial Services at the embassy. And when you go there and you travel as part of the delegation, you're set with an itinerary of meetings, both in the public and private sector, that are relevant to your industry and market needs as you're looking to enter the US. And so by participating in Select USA through the delegation, you are able to get in front of the right people and maximize the time that you're spending there. This past year, the Select USA was in June, and they had over 5,000 participants at the trade show.
Wow.
And it's just growing exponentially. And this year, I believe they took a delegation of 36 from Qatar.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's in Washington, D.C., right?
Maryland.
Maryland.
Mhm.
Yeah. And like
Close.
close in that area. I was very close.
Easy to move around in that space.
Yeah, I was looking into that myself. I look at it. Somebody sent that to me, but it looks very, very interesting. What do you think is important? I think you are serial networker. I think I'm seeing you network a lot, and you are also not just any networking, but you are in the right network, right? Like, I think time for us is really valuable, and we don't have that much time. So it is important to be in the right rooms. So what kind of advice would you give our audience that are either entrepreneurs or business owners as far as networking, and how has that impacted your relationships and connections with the American Chamber of Commerce?
That's a really good question and point at the same time, because you talked about like strategic networking, and I find that the best way to maximize how you network is you really should have a goal going into a networking event, especially if you have an idea of who else is going to be attending the event. So one thing I would recommend is setting out to meet maybe 3 or 4 people that you haven't encountered yet. Introducing yourselves, just having a chance to get to know them, exchanging business cards. And then once you have that information, doing some type of follow-up with that, setting a coffee, setting a tea, just a general meeting. The business landscape here in Qatar is quite unique in that culture plays a big role in how you interact with people in business. And going for that coffee or tea just to get to know somebody is so valuable.
Yeah.
So valuable. Because at the end of the day, they're looking to do business with someone whom they feel comfortable with and they trust, exactly, and that they can, they feel like they're compatible with them, and that you share some of the same values that they do. And that's extremely important. And then to pick one event maybe a month where it's not quite perhaps the thing that you're most directly involved in, but you're likely to meet at least one person whom can be more of value to your network.
Yeah.
Because they're often doing the same thing, going out into new spaces to meet new people who are doing different things. And I believe that every encounter you have with someone is an opportunity to learn.
Yes.
So even if they're not directly involved in your business space, there is something that you can learn from them, or you are now able to be part of their extended network. So then they may know someone who can help you get to the next person. And that's really the value of networking. I had a dear friend who always says that your network is your network.
Yes, that is so true.
Right?
That is so true.
And it is true. It really, really is true. And when you have a good network, you're able, at least from my position, personally speaking, I'm able to better direct people who are either interested to enter the market or who are already here in the market looking for additional business connections. I'm able to connect them to either the right person directly or maybe the second person to that touch point. And that's huge because you talked about it earlier, time is valuable.
Yeah.
Right? Many places it's literally money.
Yeah.
So the more you can shorten these touch points, the faster things happen for people. And the faster things happen for people, then that's just better for them. That's better for the business environment. It's better for the whole community and the ecosystem.
That is so true for me. Honestly, the network part of it, I mean, for me, for instance, with my experience with you on my short time here in Qatar, this time you were like, who can I ask because I really need this contact? And I asked you, I'm like, yep, email sent out right away. The next day or the next couple of days, I actually had meetings, and then we find out that we have even more extensive synergies for what the original meeting was about. And then just from that one person that you connected me with, we ended up, he's like, I have this network, and I said, I have this network, and just like it was like an exponential networking where we're just like, let's do some collaborations, and if we're not direct in collaborations, we have somebody else, and then you have somebody else, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is like, wow. Yes. And then that was just the one person that you introduced me to, not let alone now the other ones that you introduced me to, and I'm already in touch with them, and we had coffee, like you mentioned, right away, and we follow the momentum, on the meetings, and then we pretty much enter into almost business right away, and it was very, very impressive. So you are definitely networking in the right rooms.
I appreciate that.
What are some of the trends that you're seeing now more in the coming years between American companies, coming to the Middle East for expansion?
So obviously most people think GCC, they think oil and gas. And that's obviously a thriving market that's going to have businesses for decades and decades to come. And everything related to that, right? It's not just from the drilling and things like that, but it's, in the transportation of that, the logistics, the maritime, and all things related to that.
Yeah.
So if we go to the non-oil and gas, there's a lot of opportunity in expansion of healthcare services, particularly when you're talking about lifestyle medicine.
Yes.
More like, holistically integrated medical approaches to healthcare. Then, I touched a little bit when I was talking about oil and gas to logistics and transportation and how that area is going to grow, right? So it's looking at it from all modes, land, sea, and air. And Qatar is really prime for all three of those. Where it's located, coming in from the sea, you have the Hamad port, and the free zone has its own customs as well. So that makes it a really great place for establishing certain sectors of business. You come in, now you have the land transport out into the rest of the GCC. And then of course, Qatar Airways Cargo.
Yeah.
One of the best in the world, if not the best. And you have areas of education. So that's another sector that if people are in that already, they can look to expanding here in the region. And then anything tech, all forms tech.
Yeah.
Right. And as the American Chamber, it's important for us to collaborate and partner with other local businesses. So we are a community partner for the MENA FinTech Festival that's happening from December 3rd through the 5th at the Qatar National Convention Center. And as part of this partnership, our members can receive discounts to be sponsors, exhibitors, and even for tickets to attend the event.
Wow. I'm definitely coming to that event. What kind of advice would you give entrepreneurs and businesses that are looking from America that are looking to enter the GCC or Qatar market?
So the biggest piece of advice that I would give anyone who's interested, one, they can always reach out to the chamber, to talk to us about what are the opportunities here for the market and what's emerging. And second to that is visit. Come here and visit. Because of the strategic partnerships that we do have, it is easier to set out your plan to come here and have meetings with the relevant licensing and regulatory authorities that are specific to your business. Yeah. And also meeting other business owners who are operating in the same space. Yes. And so this way you get to meet people directly, you get to see the city, you get to experience the culture. And that is really valuable in understanding the market in which you're getting ready to enter.
Yes, absolutely. I think coming here, having the initial meetings, even I will say definitely reach out to you because then you can guide them, right? It's just coming for some, I mean, I live here for 3 years, so I understand, but I can imagine how it will be for somebody that has never been in the country. It could be a little bit intimidating. We all speak English here, but so many people never had been to the Middle East, so they can be a little intimidating, can be a little scary. But I feel like when you have somebody in the ground, especially American, and understanding where to go and getting you like again with the right collaborations and the right rooms, the right network, it's hugely impactful. And I think that definitely will save a lot of time and money as well. Like when you're trying to figure it out on your own and you don't even know where to go, where to start, or even what to do.
I agree. And that is the value of the American Chamber Network, because if you are coming from the United States and exploring the GCC in general, the advantage is that this is just one point of connection. So if you're flying out here and you want to explore some of the other countries, through our office, we're able to get you in touch with our other AmChams that are operating in the region and getting you connected to them so that they can replicate a similar process within their countries.
Absolutely. And last question, what are your goals to grow the American Chamber of Commerce here in Qatar, and what type of collaborations are you guys looking for?
So in terms of growing our presence here in Qatar, we are always open to having, whether they be locally registered businesses or US-based businesses, to apply for membership, because that investment in your business helps to support our initiatives and efforts that in turn go back into developing a more vibrant private sector here in Qatar. And the more that the economy grows, the better it is for all of us. So it's really a win-win situation. And in terms of partnerships and collaborations, right, so we're community partners with MENA FinTech Festival. We have signed an MOU with Qatar Living. And that partnership is extremely valuable because their platform is a space that will be available to our members to highlight what they're doing. Even things like their classifieds, right? So member companies may be able to put jobs there. And of course, when you have a high employment rate and you're able to retain talent, you're able to recruit quality talent, which all feeds into a knowledge-based economy, which is part of Vision 2030, then you're helping to get that vibrant private sector, grow a business's presence. The more their team grows, the more the economy and, right? So that's why having collaborations and partnerships with other local businesses is important. And then we also do collaborations with other international business councils and chambers. So, for example, we had a social gathering this year. It was ourselves and the German Business Council, AHK. And we did a large inter-council suhoor during Ramadan.
Wow.
Which saw 12 business councils and chambers participate.
Wow.
We had about 300 people attend, and I think it was 9 ambassadors.
Wow, that's big.
Yes. And so these are different ways in which we try and bring our business communities together. Because it's not just about connecting U.S. business to U.S. business or U.S. to Qatari, but we have a whole international business space. And so that network is available as well, because at the end, even all of us have the same goal, which is to provide value and benefits to our members through the connections within the community.
I love it. Wow. Talking about going global, huh? That's, wow. Well, it's very impressive what you guys are doing. I applaud you for all of the hard work, the support, their connections, and I hope all of you guys took a lot of notes. Otherwise, we will give the contact information, for the Chamber here, and then you guys can reach out. They can reach out to the American Chamber of Commerce to you guys directly. Thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it, and thank you for all of the value that you provided to the audience.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.